Okay, so hi guys, this is Durga, and today we are going to learn about the reading comprehension portion of the CUET English section. So today's session is going to be about the English section of the CUET exam. Many of you have filled the English section as your language section, as one of your compulsory sections. So today we are going to know a little bit more about the English language section of your CUET test. So let's begin. So you guys must be aware that there are a total of 50 questions which are there on your English section, and out of those 50 questions you have to attempt 40. So you have to attempt 40 questions in order to score 200 out of 200 on your English section. There is a marking of +5 for every question that you do correctly, and a marking of -1 for every question that you do incorrectly. Okay, so that is why it is very crucial that you do not try to mark any approximations, or you do not try to mark any options that you are not sure of, because you will not only not gain your you will not only get a -1, but you will also lose this +5. That is, you will actually have a loss of 6 marks if you do not attempt a question correctly. So your aim should be to mark the maximum questions with full confidence, and to mark all the questions that you are doing correctly, so that you can score a 200 on 200. So this is the agenda for our session today, wherein we are going to discuss a little bit about the verbal portion, the English portion of your CUET test, focusing on reading comprehension. So without any further ado, let's start with the questions. Okay. So before we start with solving reading comprehension, I just want to want you to go through the syllabus that is there of your English section. We have reading comprehension, vocabulary, and grammar. We can majorly divide the English section or the syllabus of the English section into 3 components, wherein I have listed the different topics from which you will get the questions on your reading section. You will have, firstly, you will have comprehension. In comprehension, you will be having different types of passages, that is your factual passages, descriptive passages, narrative passages. So we will be solving a factual passage and a narrative passage today in this session. You will further be getting questions from vocabulary, questions from synonyms, antonyms, questions based on homophones, one-word substitutions, idioms and phrases, meanings of foreign words, and meanings of famous proverbs which are there. Further, in grammar, you will be encountering questions related to tenses. You will be having questions related to phrasal verbs, noun, pronouns, subject-verb agreement, articles. Then you will be having questions related to prepositions, modals, degrees of comparison. These are some of the topics which are related to your pure grammar. Then you will also have questions related to parts of the speech. So you will have questions related to active voice, passive voice, direct, indirect speech, exclamatory speeches, and some surprise elements might also be there in the form of questions related to your writing section. So in questions related to your writing section, you will have questions which are, in the last year you have noticed that you have questions related to format of a letter, or you also have questions which are related to format of a notice. So you can also have questions which are related to your writing section. That can be one surprise element which you must have observed, or you must have seen in the past year papers in the previous session. So all in all, I would not say that your English syllabus is limited to these topics, but if you prepare yourself well, and if you know the in and out of all of these following topics, you will easily be able to attempt 40 questions and score 100 percentile on your English section. So without wasting any more time, let's get into reading comprehension, and let's try and solve one passage together. So let's have a look. So majorly, whenever we encounter a reading comprehension or whenever we encounter a passage, I would like to tell you that you should not try and focus on understanding the passage to a lot of depth, because in the exam you have 45 minutes in which you have to do 40 questions. So thinking logically, you only have 1 minute per question. And in reading comprehension, you will be getting 3 passages. So 3 passages means a total of approximately 15 to 16 questions that will be there, with 5 to 6 questions per passage. So if you have 5 to 6 questions in one passage, you approximately have 5 to 6 minutes to solve one passage. Now, when you have 5 to 6 minutes, you can hardly give more than 3 minutes in reading the passage and understanding the passage, because you will also require approximately 30 seconds to answer each question. Okay, the questions which are given are very direct and they are easy. You will when you will read the question, you will be able to answer the question because it will be directly related to the information that is given in the passage. You don't have to have any extra knowledge. You don't have to infer a lot. Whatever question is given, the information will already be given in the passage. Okay, so if you have read the passage well and if you have understood the passage well, it should not be a problem to solve the questions. But you have to pay attention to your speed. You cannot get stuck on a particular passage, because you should remember that you have to do only 40 questions out of the 50 questions that are given to you. So you have the leverage and you have the you can say flexibility of even leaving one passage if you are not able to understand the passage in the initial 1 or 2 minutes. So I would suggest that if you are trying to read a passage and maybe you're not able to get what the passage is trying to say, leave that passage. Do not compromise on time, because you don't have more than 1 minute per passage, sorry, per question. So you have only 1 minute per question. So if you have wasted 8 or 10 minutes on one single passage, you will compromise on your efficiency and accuracy of the rest of the paper. So do not do that. Read the passage. We will discuss this passage in detail today, and I will tell you how we can effectively read a passage on your exam, how we can effectively read a factual passage, and how cleverly we can answer the questions, okay, with the help of the information that is given to us, without fretting over the small details, without getting too much involved in the passage, how we should tackle the passage so that we are able to answer all the questions correctly. So let's begin. So what is this passage about? This passage is about ecotourism. So let's read. The passage says, an offshoot of the environmental movement of the 1970s, ecotourism has come into its own over the past 2 decades. Okay, so their offshoot basically means that ecotourism, this environmental, because of this environmental movement, ecotourism began in the 1970s, and over the past 2 decades, means over the past 20 years, it has become a movement of its own. How come? Thanks to an increasing awareness of the environmental issues like climate change, combined with a high demand among European and North American travelers for unspoiled locations, authentic cultural experiences, and recreational challenges. Ecotourism is growing at a rate of 20% annually, making it the fastest growing sector in the tourism industry. So basically, here the author is just trying to explain how ecotourism has grown. So we don't have to remember everything, that what are the travelers looking for, unspoiled locations, authentic culture, all of this is detail which the author is giving to support his point. So we just have to remember that the author is trying to explain to us, or the author is trying to tell us that ecotourism has really increased. Okay, we don't have to remember statistics 20%, because even if there is a question related to it, we can always go back to the passage, look for the answer and mark the choice. So just get a broad idea of what the passage is trying to say. Making it the fastest growing sector in the tourist industry. The International Ecotourism Society defines ecotourism as responsible travel. Okay, so this is the definition of ecotourism. Let's pay a little bit of attention to this. To natural areas which conserve the environment and the welfare of the local people. So this is important. What is ecotourism? Ecotourism is responsible travel which conserves the environment and the welfare of local people. Now, the International Union for Conservation of Nature characterizes ecotourism as economically stable, ecologically sensitive, and culturally acceptable. Closely related in the concept of sustainable tourism identified in Our Common Future, the Brundtland Commission's report to the 1987 World Commission on Environment and Development that meets the needs. So this Brundtland Commission also gave a definition of ecotourism. And what was the definition? This: the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future. So up till now, the author is just talking about ecotourism and he's trying to define what ecotourism is all about. Now let's read ahead. So if there is a question which can arise from here, it can be something related to the definition of ecotourism. And even if we have any doubt at any point, we can go back to the passage. The passage is always there with us and we can confirm and mark our answer. Let's move to the next paragraph. Ecotourism's principles clearly distinguish it from conventional mass tourism. Okay, so now the author is trying to tell us how it is different from mass tourism, from the normal tourism. Okay, mass, that means the normal way of tourism wherein which lot of people follow. Okay, instead of classic tourist meccas, ecotourism seeks out remote locations. So what is different? In ecotourism, tourists will prefer remote locations with strict environmental protections and they will operate on a small scale. Tourist businesses, local residents are encouraged to minimize their impact on environment by recycling materials, conserving energy and water, safely treating human waste and properly disposing garbage, using alternative energy and building in a manner that fits in with natural surroundings. So basically, this is what ecotourism, these are the practices of ecotourism wherein they will try to treat everything very carefully and minimize any kind of damage which they can create to the nature. The financial benefits and how is it beneficial? Financially, the financial benefits from ecotourism are passed on to the community through the conservation projects, employments, partnerships, and local participation in the development of local resources. So ecotourism is not only better for the environment, but it also has some financial advantages. So author is telling us the benefits, the positives of ecotourism. Synonyms with green tourism, synonymous. Synonymous means it's very similar to green tourism. Ecotourism promotes cultural sensitivity and respect for traditions and customs in order to avoid the kind of exploitation that has turned tribal ceremonies into site shows and relics into souvenirs. Last but not the least, ecotourism plays a political role in its support of human rights and democracy. So they are saying ecotourism is not only important for the environment, financially, but culturally and politically also ecotourism has an important role. So all in all, we can say that the author is very positive about ecotourism and he has tried to list all the positive points, advantages. First, he has described something, then he has given the advantages of ecotourism. So once we have understood the passage well, it will not take us much time in answering the questions. So let's quickly move to the questions. So what you have to do, you have to very carefully, you can say in your own words, create a crux of what the passage is trying to say. And then with that understanding, move to the questions. And I'm very sure if your understanding is correct, then solving the questions, answering the questions will not be a tough task. Okay? Okay. So what is the first question saying? The International Ecotourism Society defined ecotourism as. So what was ecotourism? Ecotourism is something which is for the benefit of the environment and the people. The International Society defined it as, here we have in the first paragraph, responsible travel to nature areas that conserve the environment and welfare of local people. So conservation of environment and welfare of local people, that is ecotourism. So let's quickly, unexplored places, grow economy of a place, responsible travel. Yes, responsible travel to natural areas. Third will be our correct choice. Okay, because it has to be responsible and it is to unexplored areas, natural areas. Yes, everyone who has gone for the third option has marked the correct choice. Let's quickly move to the next one. Okay, guys. So I'll just clear all of this. Okay, second question. Why has ecotourism increased over the past 2 decades? So why has ecotourism increased? Because it's what? It is a benefit, it's an advantageous practice. Okay. And it is also for the benefit of the environment, for the benefit of the people. So why has ecotourism increased? Making it, see here they are saying that it is increasing at a rate of 20% annually. Why it has increased? Because people want what? People want natural cultural experiences and recreational challenges. Okay. They want to travel responsibly to unexplored areas. That is why ecotourism has increased now, because they want to travel to new areas, but they also want to be responsible. So why has ecotourism increased? Not because travelers have a lot of time. No. They have become more aware of the environmental issues. Yes. Restrictive movement. No. Any planning? No. We have not read anything about planning in the passage. So yes. Second, option 2 will be the correct choice, that because now travelers are more aware of the environmental issues and they want to travel more responsibly without hurting the environment. So yes, that is why ecotourism has increased. Correct. Second will be the correct choice. Moving to the third one. Let's try this one. Which kind of development did the Bertland Commission's report suggest? So this is what? This is a location-based question. We have to go to this location where we are talking about Bertland Commission's report. So we will directly go to that position. So let's go back and see where we are talking about Bertland Commission's report. Let's quickly read. I think in the first paragraph. Yes, last 2-3 lines. Yes, the Bertland Commission's report on environment. And what did it say? That meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. That is what is ecotourism. So let's go back to the options. So ecotourism was what kind of development? Not only focusing on present, no. Compromising on future, no. Only future, no. Striking a balance, yes. Development that strikes a balance between the needs of the present and the future. Yes. Option number 4 will be the correct choice. So I hope students that you can understand at this point that if you have understood the passage well, then you will be able to easily solve the questions. In many cases, you won't even have to go back to the passage or check the passage again. You will directly be able to answer the questions. Okay. Okay. So let's move ahead. Next question. Green tourism promotes. Again, we know what does green tourism promote. Green tourism, it promotes the betterment. So it has to be something which is positive about nature. Okay. But we will still check as to what they have said. Synonymous. So where did we read about green tourism here? Promotes cultural sensitivity and respect for traditions. That is what green tourism was about. So let's go back and let's see. Cultural sensitivity to avoid tribal exploitation. Option number 2 will be your correct choice. Visiting forest areas, but you can visit forest areas and harm them also. How do we know that you are visiting and not harming them? Large scale tourism was the conventional tourism. And afforestation, I am not sure whether we have talked about afforestation in the passage at all. We have only read about green tourism in the last 2-3 lines where they say that ecotourism is synonymous with green tourism because it's also doing the same. So what is the activity that is same? That both are promoting cultural sensitivity and respect for traditions. That is our option number 2. And finally, which of the following statements is or are true? In this, you will require a general understanding of the complete passage, and with the help of that, you'll be able to answer the question. A says ecotourism is environmentally sustainable. Yes. It is not different from conventional. No, actually, it is different from conventional. Ecotourism is not like conventional tourism. In conventional tourism, we don't care about the environment. Ecotourism minimizes the impact of tourists and businesses on the environment. Yes. Ecotourism has respect for traditions and customs. Yes. It is not profitable. See, we can't say, or actually it is written, I think, at one place in the passage that it is also financially profitable. We have read one of the advantages of ecotourism. Yes, the financial benefits are there. So it is financially profitable. So we can't say that ecotourism is not beneficial financially. So B is out and E is out. So correct answer is A, C and D. Yes, which is our third option. So third option is the correct choice. So yes. So these were the 5 questions, guys, for this particular passage. A good understanding of the passage. Although in the beginning you may have felt that the passage is relatively long, or it's a very lengthy passage. How will you be able to solve the questions? How will you read and understand the passage? But I'll tell you, if you have read the passage well and if you have understood it well in the first go, then it will become very easy for you to answer the questions. Okay? Understanding of the passage is very important. Once you have understood the passage well, answering the questions will not be a feat. It will take very less time. Within 15 to 20 seconds, maximum 30 seconds, you will be able to answer the questions. Okay? So, 30 seconds each for 5 of the questions. So 2.5 minutes. So if you have 5 questions, you still have 2.5 minutes, 2.5 to maximum 3 minutes, because 45 minutes, 40 questions. So you have 5 minutes extra. So approximately in 3 minutes, your goal should be to read and understand the passage in under 3 minutes in order to answer the questions. Okay. Factual and narrative passages are actually a little bit lengthy. On the factual and not narrative, sorry, your factual and descriptive passages are actually a little bit lengthy, but your narratives, in which you will generally have poems, they will not take that much time for you to read, but yes, it might take some time to comprehend. Okay. So let's try a narrative one then. Let's try a narrative one. Okay. So let's begin. So this is the narrative passage which is given to us, which is actually a poem. So what is the author saying here? Or sorry, the poet. So the poet says, "O youth, sweet comrade youth." Okay, comrade means your friend. "Wouldst thou be gone?" Okay. So basically, maybe the poet is wondering that is his youth over now? Has youth left his side? Maybe something like that. "Long have we dwelt together, thou and I." Means we have been together from a long time, you and me. "Together drunk of many an alien drawn." and plucked the fruit of many an alien sky. So we have been together for a long time. We have had good times, drunk. We have drunk of many. An alien dawn means we have seen good mornings, good beginnings together, and we have plucked the fruit of the alien sky. Means we have reaped the benefits of our youth together. Ah, fickle friend, must I, who yesterday dreamed forwards too long, undimmed ecstasy, henceforward dream because thou wilt not stay, backward to transient pleasure and to thee. So here the poet talks about youth and he calls him fickle friend. Fickle means somebody who changes his mind or her mind very easily. So he's referring to youth and saying that you had yesterday only dreamt, okay, of long and undimmed ecstasy. Ecstasy means of utmost joy, pleasure, okay, because thou wilt not stay. Because, but now the poet goes on to say that you can dream. Henceforth, dream, you can keep on dreaming because you are not going to stay. Okay, you are not going to stay backward to this transient pleasure. Transient again means short-lived pleasure. Okay. I give thee back thy false ephemeral vow. So basically vow is like a promise. So the person, the poet is, addressing youth. And he says that I give you your ephemeral again is short-lived. Short-lived promise back. But oh beloved comrade, comrade means again friend. Oh my dear friend, ere we part, now that we are parting now, upon my mournful eyelids and my brow. So on my sad, mournful eyelids and my eyebrows, kiss me who hold thine image in my heart. Okay, so kiss me and always hold my like youthful image in your heart. Always hold this pretty image or always hold the memory of these good times that we had together in your heart. Okay. So this poem is all about this poet talking to his youth that maybe the poet is attaining old age now and he is going to get older. So youth is going to leave him soon. And he is reminiscing about the good times that he has had in his youth. So he is addressing youth as a friend and he talks about the good times that he has had in his youth with youth being his friend. Okay. And how they had wish that this time never end. This ecstasy continued undimmed. Undimmed means without dimming. Like, so there is like, you can say, so if there is a bulb, so we say now that the light has dimmed. The you can say power of the, maybe the bulb is failing. So undimmed would mean that with continuous energy, they had thought that they will always carry on like this with full vigor, full excitement. Okay. But the youth has, not kept its promise. It is going to bid him farewell. Youth is going to leave him. So now the poet asks youth to like bid him a goodbye in a way in which the youth remembers this poet or this person in a way in which he was there when they were when the poet was young. So the poet requests youth or is telling youth to always hold that memory about the poet in his mind. Okay. So that is what the poem is all about. So let's get to the questions. So who does the poet address in the poem? This we should be very clear. The poet is talking to youth. The poet is talking to youth as his friend. So he's talking to youth as a friend, but his comrade is friend, partner. So youth. The poet is talking to youth. Yes. Why does the poet call the youth fickle? Fickle because it is short-lived. Youth is short-lived. Youth is, you will be young for a fixed period of time, or like for a small period of time. Nobody can be young forever. We cannot be young forever. So youth is short-lived. Youth will only be there for a particular period of time. Like we are born, then we are children, then we grow up, we become youth, adults, and then we have to age and we have to die one day. So youth is there for a fixed amount of time. Youth is short-lived. So that is why the poet calls youth fickle friend, short-lived friend. Okay. What does the word ephemeral suggest? Ephemeral again refers to the same context in which the author or the poet is addressing youth. Ephemeral means short-lived. Ephemeral means something which is there for a short period of time. So permanent, strong will not work here. Permanent, strong, eternal again is opposite of ephemeral, something which is there for a long time. Ephemeral would mean the poet is addressing the temporary nature of youth. That youth is there for a short period of time. Youth is not there for a long time. Okay. So temporary. Ephemeral here would suggest temporary. Yes. Moving to the next one. Identify the sentences that convey the poet's ideas as expressed in the poem. So let's see. Let's have a look individually at all the options. The poet has spent good time in his youth. Yes. Youth comes back again in his life. No, I don't think so. Youth has come back again in his life, because youth is actually bidding him farewell. That is what is the theme of the poem. So no, the poet returns false promises of the youth. Okay. Yes, the poet talks about the false promises because he's like accusing the youth now that you had falsely promised me, but now you are bidding me farewell. You are going away. So yes, and the poet is happy in old age. No, we don't know whether he is happy in old age or not. We don't have any information about his old age here. So this will be ruled out. And the poet wants to keep the memories of his youth. Yes, because basically the poet bids youth to always have that memory of his with him when they were both happy. So the poet is in a way trying to say that keep my memories with you, or I will keep those memories that I have with you when I was youthful. So yes, A, C and E. E will be correct. So A, C and E, that is first one. First one will be your correct choice. We don't know anything about whether he is happy in his old age or not. So D is ruled out, and youth comes back in his life is also ruled out. Okay. Moving to the next one. What is the theme of the poem? A good question again. This depends on your understanding of the poem. So if you have understood the poem well, you will be able to answer this question correctly. Okay. What is the theme of the poem? Enjoying the present time. Fleeting nature of youth. Yes, this looks very attractive. Fleeting. Fleeting again means short-lived. See, the whole theme, the whole crux of the poem revolves around this, that youth is what? Youth is temporary. Youth is very short-lived. So the whole theme of the poem actually revolves around this, that youth is short-lived. So fleeting nature of youth. Yes, that is correct. Fleeting nature of youth will be the correct choice. Time gives false vows. Okay, time did promise, but it was not time that gave false vows. It was time, or was it youth? It was youth, because the poet talks to youth, addressing the youth that you had promised me, but now you are leaving. So it's not time, it's youth. And breaking of human promises, again, the human is not promising. So fleeting nature of youth will be the correct choice. Okay. Okay, guys. So that was a little bit about the comprehension of the English section that you have on your CUET. So like I told you, you have a total of 50 questions, out of which you have to attempt 40 in order to score 200. But you have to remember that in these 40 questions, you have to do these 40 questions correctly to score 200, or else you'll get a -1 for each wrong choice. Okay. So to score a high score on the English section, you have to be very thorough on your reading comprehension. If you feel that there is a particular comprehension which can be tricky, you can leave one of the comprehensions. Okay. You still have 2 more that you can do, because there are 10 questions that you can leave. Out of your 50, you only have to do 40. But whatever 2 comprehensions that you are doing, whether it's a factual passage or a descriptive passage or a narrative poem, you have to be very sure of the answers that you are marking. So here it is more about surety rather than the maximum number of questions that you can attempt. So it's more about efficiency, rather, it's more about, you can say, accuracy rather than the number of questions that you are attempting. So even if somebody is doing like maybe 30-35 questions, but all 35 questions, so let's see, for example, there is a candidate A who does 30 questions, and out of 30 questions, his 25 questions are correct. But there is candidate B who has done 35 questions and his 25 questions are correct. So this person will get 25 into 5, that is 125, minus 5, so 120. But this person will get 25 into 5 will remain 125, but there will be a minus of 10. So this person, even when he or she has done lesser number of questions, attempted lesser number of questions, his final score of the English section is more. So you have to be careful. You cannot blindly just mark anything. Only go for an option when you are 100% sure that it is correct. And you always have a leverage of not attempting 10 questions. Okay. So on that note, I would like to wrap up the session for today. We will be coming up with more sections in the near future, more sessions where I will be talking about the grammar portion and the parts of the speech, the different types of speech. And I'll also be giving you more sessions onto the vocabulary, your antonyms, synonyms, and everything. So stay tuned and keep a watch on this channel for more updates on the English section as well as other parts of the CUET exam. Thank you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.